god, did you see his numbers again? Yeah, he's been at the bottom for like a month.
Come on, you scrubs! To arms!
Lex might be a little too far from the mic. Maybe get a little closer.
It's touching my face.
Not another spider!
I was not protected. Oh yeah, that's one with fall damage.
I was standing in the pool because I thought we had the silted.
Ooh, fell asleep at my desk. And I drowned in the stormwind canal.
No, Jim, I don't want to hear about your chaos bolt.
What, you want me to dispel? I don't even have that on my action bars.
Stop standing in the fire!
What fire?
Alright, pre-pot. And tricks to the trade. Oh, that was the healer.
What just killed me there? Yep, physical damage. So bad at playing a demon hunter.
Oh my god, we did it.
You're listening to Scrubs vs. the World with your hosts, Cyrub and Projali.
And welcome into the show, everyone. Tonight, we are going to make you very upset, potentially. So, if you don't like being upset, I suggest you listen to the rest of this show, because it's going to be fun. We're going to talk about WoW controversies, or controversies, for those of you folks across the pond. And hopefully, we come up with some cool, fun ideas. Or, I don't know. We'll figure that out. But joining me, as always, is the troll to my Draenei, is Projali. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing just great. Down with the Alliance. How are you doing?
Like you're down to party with the Alliance, or
no, like just down with them in general. Just
that's rude.
Just starting the controversy early.
I am hurt and offended, and I can't believe you would say that to me, sir.
How dare you?
That's okay. The Alliance is just kind of hanging out. We're like, oh yeah, our king guy is like the Lich King too, apparently. So it's fine. I don't know what's happening in Stormwind, but
yeah, right.
It's fine. Yeah. Now I hope they give me a choice to follow Anduin, because I'd totally do that now that he's cool and not a punk.
He's gone from punk Anduin to cool icy Anduin.
There we go. There, see Alliance guy calling Anduin a punk. What's going on here?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't even know if that's working, but we'll run with it.
It's okay.
Yeah. Well, joining us to help either keep us in check and or join the madness, the Magnificent K, also known as Klanker, and Nick from Tauren and the Goblin. How you doing?
Good. I can't believe you actually led with that, though.
We're gonna hold you to it.
Yeah.
Perfect. That's just how I want to be introduced on this very controversial podcast. Yes, the Magnificent K. I'm here to make people mad.
All right.
Well, I just want to say that as a Tauren and a Goblin, we are definitely in agreement with Projali's down with the Alliance. So that punk Anduin, he's like 18. He's got he's going through that little like late teenage rebellion thing. Oh, look, he's all, I'm kind of like a Death Knight, but not really. No, he's going to wake up and then he's going to get a job and be a square in the future. He's boring. Down with the Alliance.
My parents don't understand me.
So what you're saying is he's going to get an accounting degree and just be a pencil pusher like myself. Yeah. Is that what's happening? That's fair. That's reasonable. I think that's why I identify with the Alliance, because it's like I don't make scary life choices, so I do accounting and IT stuff. So there we go. Oh man. Well, cool. Well, I'm so glad you guys joined us. This should be a fun show. This is something that Projali and I have been kicking around for a while. Mm-hmm. Just to throw out there, like, what's some of the stuff the community's talking about and what's kind of pissing people off, and
hot topics.
Yeah, and I see stuff. I mean, you go to Twitter, of course, you're taking your life into your own hands at that point. Mm-hmm. and you see just all kinds of craziness. So we just want to hang out and talk about crazy stuff and see what happens. So, but before we do that, I have news to share.
Tell us.
And I was so excited for this point coming up into this show, because for the last 4 weeks, we've been fighting Mr. Steve Denathrius. And finally, the Knights of Chipotle reigned supreme. And we ended that punk's life forever. Or at least until 9.2 when he comes back, because we're in the Shadowlands already, and I don't know how that works.
Yay! Congrats!
Thank you. Well done.
Yeah, we had a 0% wipe
Dang.
the victory poll. Yeah, and I was like, okay, this is either going to end with us in a ball of flames and people rage quitting because we just couldn't get it again, or we're going to focus up and kill them. And fortunately, it was option 2, because I've been on teams where option 1 happened and you just can't kill them for another 2 weeks. So that was exciting. That was fun. Now I can focus on some classic WoW and some other kind of, back-end stuff I've been wanting to do with Shadowlands now that old Steve's dead. So very exciting stuff. I like it.
Celebrate.
And, yeah, I did. I celebrated pretty hard. A little too hard for beating a video game boss, but whatever.
Nope. He's the last boss in this this current patch. Therefore, it's an all-out celebration. Just saying.
Yeah. It was drinks and everything else you can do, but it was good times. But Projali, what has been your latest and greatest WoW accomplishment?
It is Mythic Recluse, getting some of our people who had to ride the bench for Sire Prague, getting them their cutting-edge kills, and waking up on Tuesday to check the Vault of Disappointment,
Yes.
Just
that great
seeing
old
everybody
vault.
get their shiny toys, and he just denies me still.
It's Sire, not Steve. Projali, stop calling me Steve.
He's like, if you got my name right, I'd give you a weapon. I was like, yeah, you won't.
No weapon for you.
You won't.
Yeah. And Magnificent K, how about you? What's been your... That's going to stick now. We're just going to roll with it.
You're going to get me every time you say that. So I haven't had as much time in game as I'd like, but my most recent triumph was getting the... there's a mount that comes out of... What is it? In Neldraxxus, there's it's not Trial of Champions, but there's the gladiatorial ring.
The Theater of Pain.
Yes, Theater of Pain, which it is indeed a theater of pain and many tears. But I finally got that mount to drop after farming it on 2 characters every day for at least a month and a half or more. So I love it.
Oh,
wow. I have my little blight hound with me. He's green. I love him. His name is Pestilence, but I just call him Pest. So
that is awesome.
That's beautiful.
He also is kind of the color of pesto, so it works no matter what.
There's layers to this.
There is.
So delicious. Yeah.
Totally didn't name him when I was hungry. I don't know what you're talking about.
That's fantastic. I got that guy. I think I was playing with my wife, and she's like, "What the hell? You got a mount and I didn't?"
Yes.
It's like, yeah.
It's a very fickle mount.
It's my fault.
Uh-oh.
I'm not going to write it when I play with you.
Right.
So I've relegated that one to my alt mage. But,
Very cool.
Smart.
Yeah. I don't want to rub it in.
No.
It is a beautiful mount, though.
Oh, yeah. No, it's great.
You need to try to summon it when she's not looking. Make sure you're not in her field of vision, and then summon it and immediately dismiss it, and then what? Nothing.
No, it's fine. Yeah. I'm just on my tree. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
It was a mob. It was just a mob that ran by.
Yeah. So, Nick, how about you? What's been your latest and greatest accomplishment in game?
My thing lately is I've been trying to push to finish the Bastion campaign. So, I mean, it's been very easy. I did the what is it? The alternate leveling. I can't think of the name of it.
The Threads of Fate.
The Threads of Fate. Thank you. Where I think it may have taken a little bit longer, but I didn't really pay attention to that. I just know I got 4 renown to start, and that, I mean, renown flows like water at this point. You look at the Archon the wrong way, and they're like, "Here's a renown." So, so I was able to at least keep pace so that I could just plow right through the campaign once I got high enough level and do that. And I have to say, it was the one campaign I wasn't really looking forward to. I was like, oh, it's going to be, the stupid Ascended, they're kind of dumb and almost like a cult. And then, I went through it. By the end of it, I'm like, okay, these guys actually are kind of cool. I kind of maybe wish my main had gone with them now. They're actually not that bad. The journey that they took you on, it was really interesting. And so I'm glad that I did that. And now, we've got the new little, the patch that may or may not give you a little bit of an anima boost depending on how you approach it. So that'll help. I still got a few renown to get, so I'm not worried about that because I've got time. Now I'm ready to take my next character and send him through Ardenweald, so that's going to be a fun time.
Nice. Yeah, the Ardenweald story is pretty awesome.
Chocolate mousse.
Sorry, I'm being interrupted.
You've been brought a treat.
He's bringing me deliciousness. So
delicious.
It is okay. It passes.
Now I'm going to be looking back at my door the whole time, like,
where's my pudding? Yeah.
What the hell?
I have not set this up properly. This is.
I'll just hold my hand out and wait for it.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I think you'll like the Ardenweald campaign because that's what I went through.
Mm-hmm.
And initially I was going to do Maldraxxus because, I mean, I like bone stuff coming off me on my armor sets. But then as I played through Ardenweald, I was like, man, this is so pretty and it's so cool. And when you think about it, the move they do, the Fey transfer for Shaman, is probably the most metal thing you can do because you're sucking life essence out of the monsters you're fighting. And that was like my bar there. How metal is it? I'm like, you know what? I got Princess Moonberry here.
You wouldn't think the Night Fae would be metal, but that does sound metal, so you're absolutely right.
I got Princess Moonberry here just draining lives all over the place. And what do I got? Primordial Wave out of Maldraxxus?
Yeah.
I'm going with Princess Moonberry all day.
That's fair. I went with Maldraxxus, and I can say that's fair.
Yeah. So, numbers-wise, probably not the best choice, but whatever. I do what I want.
There you go.
They're all good choices.
Yeah. No, I like them all. The stories are fun. That's one of the things I'm going to do is get 3 more classes up and finish up their stories and everything and, get all that stuff done. Very exciting. So let's... So I hope everyone's sitting down and the other blood pressure medicine handled, because the next section of the show is going to be either rage-inducing or you're going to be like, yeah, that's a really good thought-out point. But let's see what happens here. So the first topic I wanted to hit, because it drives me insane, is botting. So how does Blizzard deal with this issue? So, Nick, let's start with you. What's your opinion and thoughts upon the botting problem that's going on?
Does anyone like botting other than the botters? Well, and actually, I should say, when you say botting, you're talking specifically about you're running like 12 characters all through like the same dungeon, and you're just so like it's more like botting and multi-boxing kind of thing, like not just not just when you got like a macro that you hit like one button and you mine like all the nodes in sight, or maybe both of those, but
all the above.
Yes. So I mean, I know they've tried to restrict what you can do on a global cooldown and whatnot, and even then, didn't they put a change in where they said like you can't? What was it? There was a change they put in that they were finally like, yeah, we're not allowing botting. I think it was right before Shadowlands started. I can't remember what it was.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that had to do with using broadcast input broadcasting software. So for multi-boxing, it's a lot more to manually do it. It's a lot more involved.
Yeah.
But you can still technically multi-box. I think where botting differs is it's still software-based, and they're getting around Blizzard's detection.
If you have like 8 keyboards in front of you and you're all hitting like the button to mine, like that's still technically legal.
Right.
True.
Alt-tabbing.
That would be impressive. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's. I don't know. It's one of those things where at some point I don't know what they could do short of flat out saying like if you have like however many accounts you have, you can only be signed on once for any for all the licenses associated with your account or whatever.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But even then, the workaround is just don't associate your accounts, and like there's still ways people get around this.
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, they can make it more difficult as they have been, but this is one of those things. I don't think anybody really likes this. I mean, and I know we like to say like, oh, Blizzard likes it because that the one guy is paying like 50 for 50 subscriptions or whatever, and that's 50 times $15 a month. But one, if you're paying for that much, you're probably doing the 6-month plan, so you're paying $13 a month. So it's not the full, not the full price, but
economical.
Exactly. Yeah. But I think Blizzard sees that for as much as they're raking in from this one mythical person with that many accounts, you have just as many people frustrated on the other side that they may be losing accounts. So I think they know it's not worth it for them. But yeah, I don't know. I don't have obviously if I had a solution, I'd be selling it to Blizzard. I'd be like, here for $50 a month. I'll you can pay me and I'll stop botting altogether. Yeah, I don't know what they can do. I just can't imagine. I can't imagine that there's anybody at Blizzard actually glad. Like, yes, you're doing it right. Keep botting. Keep doing that.
Right.
Oh, jeez. Klanker, what do you think? what's your thought? How do you think Blizzard can approach this problem?
Yeah, so it's actually interesting because I know that botting has kind of gone up and down. Like, sometimes it's really popular to do, especially near the start of an expansion or right before an expansion comes out. I'll see a lot of them. And then, unfortunately, botting also happened a lot in vanilla, and I knew that was a big gripe for Battlegrounds and that sort of thing. And I honestly think that Blizzard is probably doing the best they can, given the situation. I'd have to kind of agree with Nick, because I think they're doing they're trying to do everything they can, but there isn't a good answer because the botters can always be a step ahead and try and finagle. Like, you put a rule down and they go around it. Like, so it's definitely one of those where it's always going to be dynamic. Like, there's never going to be one true answer, I don't think. The one thing that I thought that they have done recently that's helped is they look into like player feedback. So I've actually had it where I'm sitting down in the Zandalar docks and I see a druid go by. And I see that exact same like druid with a slightly different name go by again and again and again. I see like 6 of them doing the exact same thing, catching on the exact same corner, stopping for a second and going on. I'm like, there's a whole chain of bots. And so I'm like sitting there following them around. It took half an hour of my life doing this, following them around and be like, wow, these are actually bots. And like they're stopping in like the exact point, doing the exact same behavior and going on. So there's like 13 of them, and I reported all of them on this long list of like they're exactly the same, same race combination, same everything, same armor sets, and so I wasted half an hour of my life doing this, but it felt like justice. But I actually got a ticket back from a real person saying, "Hey, we looked into it. Thanks for reporting these. These were all bots." So they do actually look into a lot of those claims when you do it. Now, if you're just pissed off at someone and say, that's a bot, you're probably not going to get feedback.
You reported those people as bots, but what you really did is you just destroyed a really hardcore RP guild that was just doing a very specific game, and you just destroyed them.
I'm sure I did, with all of their keyboard smash names, like I'm like, wow, what a good Tauren name. Should have named mine that, dang it.
You'd understand if you were in the guild.
Yeah. Some obscure tribe.
Yeah.
Near next to the Wind tribe. I'd be like, oh, what a cool guy.
Our album's coming out next Tuesday.
Bane kicked them out long ago.
Oh, that's a great point. I think players need to step in and do what they can. I know I've been seeing a lot of YouTube videos of people kind of trolling botters, which is hilarious. So they go and like pick the herb before they get there, or if it's in a PvP setting, they'll go and kill them before they can do anything. So I think that's good. Projali, what do you think?
So I think they could. I think they could dedicate more resources to it. I just don't know how efficient it is on their end. I mean, at a certain point, they could watch just character traffic zoning in and out of these instances. Like, if you go stand out some of these more notorious instances, like Grimrail Depot and a couple other places that people are doing these big farms, you'll see tons of bots just kind of all the same class. They'll zone out. They'll mount up on their mammoth and sell everything that they've been running through, and then they'll just run back in. Or some of them will even run druids or rogues, and they will just come back out and they'll stealth immediately. So people who are trying to target them can't report them. So they've got these softwares developed to do little things like that. I don't think you necessarily need to park a CM or Blizzard staff outside the instance and just watch them and look up accounts there. But there's got to be something on their network center or their NOC to watch this traffic and kind of observe patterns. Now they're probably doing that, and we don't see it. And because they're not publishing numbers of,
because they don't care.
Publish a large bandwidth.
Blizzard doesn't care.
Yeah, Blizzard doesn't care. So a lot of the behind the scenes stuff, they're probably catching some of it, not all of it, and that's where I don't know. I don't like that it's on the players to police this botting community. I mean, I think social interactions is one thing, but I don't know.
I was going to say, I think it helps. As players, we have our eyes on the ground, right? We're the ones seeing it. Because, I didn't know, for instance, that, Grim Batol was a big bot farming place. I had no idea. And so if I worked for Blizzard and someone said, hey, I'm reporting this, I see a bunch of ads coming out of here, and you're like, oh, interesting, I didn't know people were using that. So then, I feel in a way, it's almost like word of mouth. I'm sure there are things that they know, certain ones have more traffic than others, but I also think it's helpful when players report it, because then it's a live update essentially. People are like, oh, they've moved on to this one. I'm like, oh, you thought you got ahead of us. Now we're gonna start policing this one. So I do agree though. It's tough when it's on the players, but I think it's always really helpful for them to to do that, because then it also gives them live feedback on the game, which is always growing and changing. So
sure.
Right.
I almost wonder if they shouldn't do something where make botting legal, but as long as you have war mode on, or like if you're suspected of botting, they just slip you into war mode, because then it fully goes on to the players in the sense that, oh, you're botting, well now it's open season on you, and
now we're just ganking all day.
And this way, if it's like, oh, okay, well it's legal as long as I do this, then it puts you into that position where there's a little bit of danger and you can run into more risk if you're going to do it without war mode, but. Because I mean, right now, if it's our responsibility to report them, give me the opportunity to not just report, but also, to punch them in the face.
Let's take matters into our own hands.
You are now required to install a pneumatic punching glove on your monitor when you install WoW, and if you play TOS,
punch it. Oh, that'd be great. Yeah, I mean, like you guys are saying, I don't know. Besides having the players keep an eye out for everything, how do they even attempt to solve this problem? Because the problem with it is, in Classic, for example, the Black Lotus market was just destroyed, because everyone would have their little level 1 alts run to the spawn point, and there it was. And I remember some dude made a YouTube video where he's talking about how he's like, holy shit, I got one, and it's been 3 months, and that shouldn't be a thing. Now, I know Classic's been min-maxed to death, and everyone knows every little thing about it. So, of course, that's a botter's paradise. But, moving that up to the current game, it crashes economy. So, me as an herbalist, I want to help my guild by making flasks and, getting those sweet cauldrons and whatever. But I can't. I found, what is it, Widow Bloom is the hardest one right now. I found one node in the last 3 weeks. Yeah. And I'm I just gave up. It's I don't care anymore about these stupid nodes, because a botter or a multi-boxer is going to come in and take my stuff. So,
well, I mean, as much as we have the problem in retail, I think Burning Crusade Classic is really going to be interesting, because they've implemented measures to stop this over time. And for Burning Crusade, they're like, oh yeah, it's going to be open season, because they're not going to do anything to stop that. All the implementation, it's not there yet. And I know that's one of the concerns that they have. That is how is the botting going to be handled? Because you can't go in and try to stop it without changing the game. And then the question is, are they changing the game in the spirit of how Classic felt, or are they? Is it going to be too far and they're going to be driving it away from that vision, and that's a hard thing to balance, because in a way the botters were there, so they are kind of part of Classic, but
not to this degree,
really.
They're crazy right now. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, it actually makes me wonder if from what I understood is they have a back-end engine which is different than the original one, and they were able to put the original code into this back-end engine. So what I'm wondering is, I don't know how, and I'm prefacing this by saying I don't know how their botting works or how it's evolved over time, but I wonder if it's almost layered, so they have the original code, but that's a different entity, so they can put it over Burning Crusade and adjust it to Burning Crusade, but it still attacks either modern botting, or it also can flex to kind of counteract some of the things that happened in Burning Crusade as well. I would guess that they're trying to, especially after what happened in Classic, their eyes have been on this. So I'm hoping that they'll have better solutions as well, because I know that was a frustration that caused a lot of people to quit. So anyway, sorry, I went to a BlizzCon panel about it at one point, and I got super excited. I was like, oh, this is so cool. But it does bring a lot of questions about how they can handle that kind of stuff with the original code, and then all of this new engine and stuff that they're working with. So, I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. I hope, because TBC Classic could set up for something amazing. Now, I know we're not going to get the same experience as we did back in the day, but if the base game's there, I feel like TBC is the truest X-Pack to Classic or to Vanilla WoW. Because with Wrath, you got the kind of the ease of entry with LFG and all that stuff kind of folded into it. Now, granted, Wrath's still my favorite X-Pack, but you have the little blue circles on your map and stuff, which didn't exist back in the day.
Right.
I think things started sparkling then, too.
What's that?
What? I think nodes were sparkly, too? Or was that in BC?
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
I thought that was later, but maybe that's wrong. Like, yeah. Lots
Sparkles
of
and Wrath. I remember Sparkles and Wrath. I don't know about.
I do too.
BC.
I remember when they did the outline thing. I was like, "This is dumb," and I changed it back to Sparkles.
Warlords was the outline thing.
Okay.
So
I turned that off.
Yeah, I did too. Well, it's back on now, but at first I was like, I need the Sparkles back. But yeah, so I mean, TBC could be that next progression piece and kind of getting that fun classic experience that you want to get for early Warcraft. So I hope botters don't screw it up, because that would suck.
Now I'm second guessing the Sparkles. Now I'm remembering Wrath Herbs without Sparkles. I might be wrong.
Yeah, so if you know when the Sparkles came, tweet us at Scrubsverse and let us know when the Sparkles versus the outlines happened.
You know, I was going to say, this is a bit of an aside, but I have to wonder if you're a botter and you have a hunter pet, like if you're a hunter, right, in Classic or in the Burning Crusade, do their pets run away, or do they have macros to make sure they feed them?
Oh, that's a good question.
Maybe they just gave up on their pet.
Yeah, it's like, I don't care about my pet. It's like a bunch of people
Sorry,
have...
I'm just farming now.
You didn't have enough food. You just fed them the last guy in the line.
There you go.
I wish that worked. I would have had so many more pets.
Oh, it's fantastic. But that kind of flows into the next piece to this is multi-boxing. Because multi-boxing isn't the same as botting, but it's very similar. You know, Klanker, let's start with you. Like, how do you feel about multi-boxing?
Do you mind if I tell a very brief story?
Absolutely,
you can do whatever you want.
All right, so this was back in, let's see, I almost said Wrath, but it wasn't that far back. Warlords. So I was raiding with a bunch of friends, and me and my best friend share the same name, but she's a tank and I'm a healer. And speaking on the topic of multi-boxing, we had convinced a younger player in the guild that we were one and the same person, and that I was tanking and healing simultaneously on different accounts. And he believed us all the way until the very end, where we're like, we can't take the guilt, we have to tell him.
That's so awesome.
So that's my small, if I was a multi-boxer, it'd be awesome story, but I'm not a multi-boxer and I'm not that good at the game. So, but for multi-boxing, I think it's kind of tough, just because I know that there are some people that really get enjoyment out of it. But it's hard, like when you're saying I'm also an herbalist and I see, 3 druids land on the same plant, and I'm like, well, okay. And I'm like, trying to swat the birds away. I'm like, okay, move. And then it despawns, and I'm like, oh, man. So yeah. I think it's tough when they do that with resources. But otherwise, I don't have too much of a problem with it. Although I know it's a bigger problem in like Battlegrounds with PvP stuff. But I don't know. In my mind, it's like if you have enough skill to try and use to play all of them, if you're actually playing them and not using botting or any other software, that's more okay. But then when it becomes more like you're botting but you're only piloting one character, you're like, that's pretty gray, and I don't think that's as great. So I don't know. It's also kind of ridiculous when people have like 8 accounts that are all stacked on top of each other, and you're like, how many can you really play at a time though? So
right.
But yeah, so I kind of feel similar to botting about it, but I do understand that there's a community of people that really enjoy it for some reason, so I always feel bad bringing the hammer down on them and be like, you can't enjoy this game in your really weird way. So yeah, I don't know. That one's kind of tough. But I think Blizzard's done a good job making it more difficult, so like it discourages people from having the 3+ druids land on that one plant that I've been waiting to spawn for 10 minutes.
Right.
But yeah, I guess that's just pretty much it. I'm just salty about me losing nodes to multi-boxers. Yeah.
No, I'm right there with you. And I have a fun little... well, it's not fun. It was angering for me, but might be fun for you guys because you're Horde. But I was in Revendreth, and I was like, ooh, an herb! And I got on my mount, and I saw a multi-boxer going that way. And so I just kind of fell in line with their train of characters. And then the guy turned all into cats and then stealthed away from me, so I couldn't see where he was going next because I was just going to follow him, get the herbs. It's like, you bastard. I wish this was war mode so I could stun you or something, but he shook me, though. He got away. And then, of course, as I got to the next herb, it disappeared, and so on down the line. So for me, multi-boxing is quite frustrating. I'm not a big fan of it, just because I'm directly affected. I mean, it crashes markets because you have so much inventory where you can just flood it at any moment. And so making gold's a big pain in the butt. I mean, I understand there's a nice community of folks who do multi-box. Like you're saying, if they can play the characters kind of individually. I know there's going to be some macroing and stuff like that. I get that. But if you're like physically moving your characters and doing the thing, then I guess I'm a little more okay with it. But I do get rather frustrated when I can't find a stupid Widow Blossom or whatever the hell they're called. And I don't even remember what they're called anymore because I haven't seen them in so long.
Just so angry.
I know. Rage-inducing. And then then my other favorite part is when you're trying to like skin and stuff, and then there's a whole bunch of multi-box druids coming by and just starfalling everything. I don't know if you've seen that lovely thing. Yeah. So I just gave up on trying to make my own stuff. I don't know. They won. You got me, multi-boxers. You win.
You're letting them win, Si. You're letting them win.
I don't have the patience to mess with that crap.
I almost wonder if Blizzard shouldn't do something where they're like, I see you have an account, like 8 different accounts all linked together that all play at the same time. Like, why don't we let you, like, when you log in, we'll just give you a bunch of herbs or skins or whatever resource you want to go for, and you will not be able to click on any of the nodes. So you just get what you were going to get. You don't actually have to do the work of going around, and then you can go. I mean, you still crash the market, but I don't. That's a different thing that they can address. But at least this way, the nodes are still there for the the hard-working single boxers like you and me.
Right.
We can go out and try to get what we want. I don't mind as much the starfall though, because like if they come in and they just wipe out a whole area, usually they don't even get a chance to skin everything. As long as they're looting the stuff, I'll go through. I don't mind wiping up anybody else's dead carcasses. I'm perfectly fine with that.
Yeah, I had a bad experience in BFA where they again horde people, all you evil horde people, tagging all my mobs.
Yep.
And I end up getting stuck in the middle, all of them, so I have to kill them.
Mm-hmm.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I got caught in the trap. Projali, how do you how do you feel about the multi-boxing element?
The
that's
more the
going
merrier in war mode. I do like seeing the roaming multi-boxer death squads because I'm a boomkin, and if I do it right, I can Ursul's Vortex, Typhoon, Root, beam them, and they're all sitting in a silence, and then I just convoke them. So there's ways to deal with it.
Right
if they
there.
catch you off guard, it's a nightmare. But if you see them coming, you can set up some nasty stuff on them. And since they're slow to react because the multi-boxing doesn't have broadcast input anymore, it can be kind of funny. So you see them like tabbing as quickly as they can between screens. It's like, not gonna work, buddy.
No. Yeah.
Just kill the leader. Kill the leader.
Oh no.
That's a good point. I don't know. I think it's because my time in game's so limited right now, just with all the other crap I've agreed to do. You know how it goes, and kids and stuff like that. But yeah, so when I do get in, it's frustrating, and then I'm like, I don't want anyone to mess with this. I suck at PvP, so killing them isn't an option for me. I am a victim of the death squads. So I don't know. Maybe that's my problem. Maybe I just need to go horde.
Yes.
Yeah.
High pop horde. Much cheaper.
Just join them. One of us.
Exactly.
All right. Well, let's. I think. I don't know if we pissed anybody off with that one.
Not too controversial. We pissed off some multi-boxers and all our large hack bot audience.
But you pissed off the multi-boxer, so that means you're going to lose like 20 subscriptions.
That's true.
Oh,
That's a
no.
good point. That's a great point.
How many did we have in Luxembourg? Maybe that's a multi-boxer.
I think 15 was the final count.
Oh,
Divide
that's
that
a
by
lot of
3.
accounts.
Yeah. So there you go.
We're sorry, Luxembourg.
We love you guys. So moving along here, I think the next controversial topic. So this name for this event is quite interesting. They're calling it the Great Push. I don't know if they're inspired by the great 90s R&B power group Salt and Peppa, but
if they're not the guest on this, I'm going to be really disappointed.
I am too, because that's the only thing I think about when I hear that phrase. But what's controversial about it is they're pushing keys in Mythic Dungeons, which is kind of more in line with how normal people play the game, which is great. But the total purse for winning this thing is only 20K, with 8K going to the winner. How do y'all feel about that one? Is that enough money to warrant the time? Because I know those Mythic Dungeons can take forever, especially because you have to practice. And 8 doesn't divide by 5 very easily.
Not if you multi-box.
No. Multi-box, yeah.
There you go. That's the way to keep the whole purse.
So, Nick, how do you feel about this? Does this one move the needle for you? Like, as far as the esports thing goes?
This is something new-ish that they're doing. Like they said, it's like a spin-off from the MDI, so it's not exactly that level. So, I mean, I think they might just be gauging interest. And they might see if there's a lot of interest. Maybe next time it'll be worthy of, a larger prize pool. I mean, at the end of the day, they're giving you money to play a video game, so... I mean, it's kind of hard to say that, an amount is too small. But although the level of skill required to win this is probably quite high, so it is warranted. But I think if this returns, I think then we should see probably a higher prize pool, and it might be even the kind of thing where they had like 20K that was kind of sitting there in the budget, like, what do we do with this? Oh, we'll throw it, we'll make up another thing, and then see how it goes. And then next year they can be like, oh, let's actually blow this out and make this a regular deal. So we could see something like that, but. I mean, yeah, I'm interested to see how it plays out, but I don't think it could be larger, but I'm not going to complain. I'm not going to complain at this point.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. Klanker, how do you feel about this one?
Pretty much Nick summed it up. Like, it might come back as something, like, if it becomes more solidified, I could definitely see the prize pot going up, but I think at this point they might be looking for new ways to expand interest in either Mythic Dungeons, because they put so much effort into making them. I could just see them trying to test the waters with new ways to generate interest in different ways. But other than that, I can't say a whole lot about it because I don't follow it that closely. So Mythic Dungeons scare me.
Yeah, me too.
I want to see Bobby Kotick win this and then immediately fire the other 4 people.
No! Nick, no!
It's par for the course.
And then you see they go, who said 20K? I guess it's got to be more than that. It's got to be more than 20K.
It's in my contract.
It's in the contract. You guys had an extra 20K laying around. I can't let that happen. No, that was terrible. But,
it's okay.
Yeah, that's my Bobby Kotick, everyone. I'm an impressionist here. He's going to call me now, and he's going to be like, sir, that was inappropriate.
You're fired. It's like, you don't employ me, sir. I know you're in the habit. You just can't. I don't work for you, man.
Oh, jeez. Projali, how do you feel about this one?
So, it's a catch-22, I think. So, WoW esport, as an esport, I think there's a lot of potential for it. I think Arena can be very entertaining depending on the balance that season. I think MDI can be really entertaining depending on the way they do it. So the MDI weeklies aren't nearly as interesting for a lot of people, and I think the viewership shows that. It may be their choice of YouTube as a platform. I don't know. That contract may have doomed them in their viewership count. But I mean, they're in the tens of thousands in concurrent viewers. You look at games like Dota 2 and League of Legends. They're in the hundreds of thousands for their annual tournaments. Like the international prize pool was like $35 million for
holy hot dogs. We're
all
playing
of
the
the
wrong
teams
game.
participating. But like Dota 2 pulls in like 300,000 viewers at a time. Like, it is massive. And a lot of that is actually funded from contributions from the community, so they can buy skins in the store for, Dota 2. Like, that money rolls up into the prize pool. They've got sponsors and things as well, but like, the community contributes to that prize pool, and so there's a lot of drive to get these players support. These are also teams that are supported by, sponsorships. They've got like Samsung and all of these like big name brands behind them. Whereas you look at a WoW team, it's really just kind of some esport orgs and Steel Series and keyboards and mice type of companies. Like, it doesn't have the same backing. They tried it with Overwatch, and I don't think Overwatch really sustained the viewership numbers either with their continuous league. So how do you get players to invest hours for less, what ends up being like a less than a minimum wage payout, even if you get first place, like for the hours that they put in to practice these dungeons? How do you get the viewership behind that?
That's a good question.
Cart before the horse. I don't know.
Well, and also Blizz has kind of, put their esports programs out to pasture.
Yeah. Speaking of layoffs.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like, cool. Okay. We're doing the great push
about it.
Hopefully sponsored by Salt and Pepper, and then I think the prize pool would be better if they sponsored it, but I mean, I think I don't know, the branding on this feels weird. I like the idea behind it, because if I'm serious about M+, I'm going to look at these teams and I'm going to go, whoa, what are they doing? What's their strategy? Like, what are they rolling with their comps, and what conduits are they running? What are they doing? Like, that's a great idea. And how high can they go? Because how far can they push these keys? That's interesting. But
yeah,
I mean,
it is more in line with how people play the dungeons. Like MDI, as a it's the seasonal tournament that they're doing. And that's historically it's been 15 keys. I think this season they push it up to 18s. But like, basically they're given a set key level, or certain FXs for the week, and they're just completing that in as quick as possible, which is how some people run keys. But a lot of the fun of Mythic Plus is how high can I push this key? Like, oh, we're going to try 21 on Tyrannical. It's going to be a nightmare. Like, oh, but we can push 23 for it. Let's see how far we can go, and how are the pros doing it, like you were saying.
Right.
It's a little more relatable.
Well, I wonder, too, if because the prize pool is so low, like, this may not be worth the time of the pros. And so this may be intended to be a bit more of an amateur competition where... Because even reading the release for it, it wasn't like, get your, your sponsored team together and try this. It was like, oh, yeah, you and your 4 friends. And I know they present everything that way, because they never actually say, like, esports is, a professional thing as much as it is. But it was, it kind of felt very casual and a little more like, let's try this out and, let's see how you guys do. I'm pretty sure that, yes, it'll probably be a professional team that'll wind up dominating, and they'll come in and they'll take the low prize pool because it's still money. But I don't know that that's necessarily the intent here, and there may be this may indicate that there's room for a level at some of these competitions where they have, okay, here's the professional tourney where we're gonna have the huge prize pool, and this is for sponsored teams, and you've got your jerseys, and you got your coach and all that stuff, and then here's the amateur level where maybe you get like a title in game or something and $5 and like $5 of BattleNet balance, not even money.
Sure.
And you and your friends can kind of go and have fun, and maybe you get like a bowling trophy at the end of it.
That would be awesome, actually. Let's see, Klanker, do you have any closing thoughts on that?
Not so much. I guess like the only closing thought I had on that was just, I think what's kind of been said is I believe that this is more to encourage people that aren't on professional teams to kind of have fun. I also think that it'd probably wind up being dominated by a professional team at some point, but I hope it'll be a fun competition for the community where people can just push keys, or we can see one demon hunter that somehow times some ridiculous key by themselves, and you're like, I don't even know what to do with this game anymore, and I quit. But not actually.
That would be awesome if somebody goes in and just wins the 8K straight up by themselves, pushing like a 30 key or something.
They need corruption for that. Dev makes a comeback.
They might need 4 people on the team just to like stand there and be bodies just to fill out the roster. In which case, I think the 4 of us would have nothing going on that weekend.
Yeah.
We can stand in the background and do absolutely nothing. We're good at that.
That's
yeah,
right.
I'm good with 1,000. You don't even have to give me like a 20% cut. Just,
No, I want my full 20. I'll take the rest of Projali's too.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh, jeez. I'll move it along here. AOTC/Mythic Plus/Torghast/etc. gold sale runs. So this one I've heard people get kind of upset with when people spend their gold to pay guilds to run them through to get ahead of the curve, or pull them through a high key, or pull them through the max level Torghast without really trying anything. Basically, it's like old school boosting, but for gold. Now, Klanker, let's start with you. How do you feel about that?
So, I'm probably going to have one of those opinions that are going to send people after me with torches. I don't think
the
it's...
thoughts and opinions of Klanker are hers and hers alone.
The Mighty K!
Do not...
The Mighty K. Yeah, the magnificent Mighty K.
Yes, there we are. Wow, MMK. I'm going to start... affixes. We're just going to keep... Anyhow. As time goes on. No, so for that kind of content, I always try and advocate, people being able to see everything, and also get achievements. I'm a collector myself, and so I understand when someone's like, hey, I don't really have time to do this anymore, but it's really important to me that I have this. As someone that doesn't run Mythic Dungeons, for example, I'm pretty scared of those. So I'm like, if like back in Legion, when you're like, oh man, like I really, need this appearance, or I want this appearance from a 15. I'm like, there's no way I'm going to be able to do this by myself, or I'm too scared to do it unless, I have a specific party of friends, something like that. I do understand where people come in and you're like, hey, for a little bit of gold on the side, says the Goblin, like, hey, guess what I can get you? That shiny new appearance, jazz hands! I think I understand, and I think in some ways it's okay, because if you are making that gold, in a way, and you're spending it on something you want, that's valuable. I also think it's okay for, like, AOTC stuff. I do have some issue when it's, like, a third-party website, when you go and you pay for it. But it's tough, because I understand people not having time but still wanting the rewards to do that. And the people that are doing the runs have put in that time. So it's kind of a back and forth, because I think in some instances that it's okay, in some I think it's going too far. But most of all, I think it's good that there is a way for people to experience this content if they feel like they've been locked out of it. So, I don't know. It's a game. Like, at the end of the day, it's supposed to be fun. And if you can't get to the point where you think it's fun anymore, then, that kind of stinks when you're locked out of something. So,
exactly.
I guess that's my stance. Yeah, exactly. Right. Like, well, and so then you have this person that comes along that's like, hey, for so much gold, I will give you this thing that you really want. And my Goblin gold pitch is great, I know.
It's beautiful.
Like, we'll go punch N'Zoth in all of his eyeballs, every single one. So, anyway.
Is that Gallywix?
Yeah. It's a lot of eyeballs to punch, Lots of gold. But yeah, so I guess that's how I feel about it. I know that at the end of last expansion, I was lucky enough. My brother does a lot of mythic dungeoning and raiding, and he was lucky enough to actually help me, because there was no way that my guild group was going to make it. And he had a high enough raider IO score that he's like, yeah, I can just like kind of get you in, and we can get your ahead of the curve achievement, because I was there, right? Like my gear was there, and I couldn't get in because I didn't have that achievement, but he had the achievement, so he helped me get in. So it's one of those where, like, I totally understand when people are frustrated near the end of the expansion. They want that because they're like, I can earn this, but I just either, I don't have the group to do it, or, people won't let me in, or whatever it is. So the gold does lower that barrier to entry. So I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. I'm just lucky I have people that help me out every now and again. Carry me or put me in their pocket. Goblins will travel.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
What about you, Sai? What's your passionate opinion?
Oh,
let it out.
If you're using this one doesn't really move the needle for me very much, because if you're using your in-game gold to give somebody for a service rendered, then whatever. Like, you're not breaking TOS. you're being pulled through. I think the only people that really get pissed off about this are those people who are trying to set up like a +2 run, and they need to see your, ahead of the curve super achievement that you've already done when you've never set foot in that dungeon at that level. And I'm sure all of us have had that experience where you try to get into a stupid run and they're like, where's your head of the curve, bro? It's like, it's normal.
Yes.
It's normal. Like, what I need my head of the curve. But
Yep.
But I think those people get frustrated because you didn't do it, quote unquote, because they're just looking to be pulled themselves, I'm pretty sure. So I guess if I'm being controversial, I'm calling those people out that set the, I need my AOTC. You have to be, item level 225 to get in my normal run.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's good because that way it's community members to community members coming together. You make friends that way too, because they'll pull you through and you get with a group. And hell, like I know Projali, you pulled me through my, High Mountain Tauren slightly warmed up corpse through some M pluses to help me get some gear in Battle for Azeroth.
It was still mooing.
Yeah, I didn't give you any gold though.
No, there was no gold exchange. That was just friendship.
Yeah, but had you charged me for it, I would have appreciated it and been like, sure, here's my 12 that I have because this character's new, and I just boosted it, so whatever. There's another.
It's a pay-as-you-go model.
I'm trying to use as much inflammatory language as I can.
Flaming cow corpse, is that what you described it? It's slightly warmed.
Slightly warmed up.
A medium rare steak.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Hopefully that made any sense at all. But yeah, long story short, I don't care. Now, if it's for money, then I do care. But that's another story.
Right.
So, Nick, how do you feel about it?
I wonder if there's not a solution because you've got the people that are there like +2 must have AOTC, and yet all they're looking for is the carry, and you've got these people who are willing to carry people for money. I wonder if Blizzard wouldn't just be like, we're going to pay you, just carry this guy so he's not being a dick on the forums or whatever, rejecting people for no good reason, to just get him through so he's done. Like, there's a way that Blizzard can facilitate all of this, and I think they need to look into that. But otherwise, I think the main problem, like the actual act of trading the money, and we talk about in-game gold, but you can use the WoW token, so technically you could be actually using real money of your own, although that's not what the other party gets. Like the actual act of that doesn't bother me that much. The thing that I think most people get irked by is just the constant spam. And I think if Blizzard, I don't think Blizzard can get rid of that, but I think obviously the spam is working. There is an interest in this. We're talking about this because people are buying the service. So I think Blizzard just needs to find a way to really kind of pull that off somewhere and restrict that. Maybe add another tab in the group finding tool where it's like, this is for the pay for stuff, and just go there for that and get that out. Because if you want to get rejected by that +2 guy, you've got to find him amidst all the other like boost ads,
right?
And so it can be a bit frustrating in that regard. So I think there's some ways to alleviate this without getting rid of it entirely. I think Blizzard needs to look into that.
Well, I was gonna say, I think the other thing where people draw issue is some people feel like you don't earn it. Like if you get pulled through something, I understand people being like, well, you didn't earn it because you don't know the fight. And I'm like, well, there are a good amount of people that actually do know the fight. They just don't have enough people to help them achieve this goal. So, I don't know. I guess to those people, I'm like, just take pride in that you achieved it and don't pin your happiness on other people's success or failure. Just leave them alone.
You've got groups like, what is it, Friendship Moose that became Friendship Burb and whatever other friendship group. And that's fundamentally what they're doing. They're pulling people in, but they're doing it for they usually do it for charity, right? Like, it's, so there are ways, like, there's always going to be people that didn't earn the content, because I can sneak into a guild and be the 20th raider on the 20-man raid team. And, I guess as long as I'm good enough to not get benched, and even then, it doesn't matter. Like, did I really earn it by I guess I showed up every week, but that's a participation trophy. Is that really anything? I mean, you could argue about a lot of people what they really earned in this game and what they didn't. But it's I think as long as you're doing the content, you're still seeing something. You're still getting the experience in some capacity. So I don't know. Don't hate on that.
Yeah. Well, and you bring up a good point too. Like it's that crowd where they're like, "Oh, you got to earn it. You got to earn it, bro. You can't even hang because you can't earn it." Like, I don't know. Like, I wish that mentality would just go away because it's like, who cares? Like, the current game isn't about, hey, look at my armor like it was back in the day.
Yeah.
The current
Well, it
game
is, but not in
is
the same way.
right. Like, you can go transmog, you can, do the other stuff. But if someone pulls you through, like, an arena, so, like, if anybody who teams up with me in an arena is going to be pulling me through, so I hope you're really good. And I'm not going to pay, by the way, for the record. But, like that whole, like, if you're still worried about what other people are doing, like, what are you doing? Like, have you just done everything in the game and now you're the greatest WoW player there ever is to live and you're just gonna sit on your cloud and judge people? Like, that's kind of where I'm at. Like, what's the point of all this? Like, how did you get to this point? I don't know.
Wasn't there like one guy in Wrath and then one guy in Legion who like managed to get all the achievement points?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like those guys can talk shit.
Right.
Because they've done everything. They have whatever achievement you want to verify them. They got it. They have the bona fides.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else, shut up.
Yeah. I mean, I just don't understand. Like, I get like trying to be the best and having that I'm the best clout. Like, I understand the appeal to that, but it's like, I don't care anymore. Like, I'm old now, so I don't care. Like, if I was young, I might care, but I don't care anymore. So, what's the problem, man? Right. Who cares? Someone dragged my half-warmed corpse through the instance. I still got through the instance.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know.
That's the one thing that I wonder about a lot of these controversies is, like, I know how I feel now because I'm an old man. And I'm kind of like neutral on a lot of these things because I'm an old man, and I wonder, like, the me of 10 years ago, like, how pissed off would I be about these things because I didn't know any better back then? Like, what really would be getting in my craw back in the day because it's like I was a different person then than I am now, and I just don't care.
Yeah, well, I mean, I know for a fact early BFA I was on the classic greater than current WoW train, and I almost came to blows with one of my guildies. And it talked me off the ledge, and I was like, "Classic's just better, man. It's better." And then Classic comes out, and they beat it in 12 minutes. And so I was like, "Okay, maybe I was wrong. Maybe I was a little passionate. Need to pump the brakes."
You gotta calm down.
Well, yeah. This I think is a controversial take. Is that you have to stop comparing yourself to everybody else in the game.
Oh,
yes.
And people have a hard time doing that. Because, like, so you're right. There were guilds that went out there as soon as Ragnaros was up, he was down.
Mm-hmm.
But not for most people.
Right.
Most people still go through the experience. And your experience, the whole point of this game is it's about your experience and what you're doing. And if you want to have an experience where you get carried through some content, or if you want to have an experience where you spend months working to get Ragnaros down, even though he's a boss from 16 years ago, that's all on you. And enjoy it the way you want to enjoy it. And stop looking at what the other guy's doing. Stop being like, I'm playing a shaman or whatever. What's the lowest ranked class on the charts? I don't even know because I don't look at the charts. But stop looking at that and being like, oh, well, my class isn't the best, and I need to be playing a different class, or I need my class. But, like, just play the game the way you want to play it, and find a way to do that. I think it was on your episode last week. It was Latte who was talking, and she said something about how she didn't want to do the grind on a character, but she had to do the grind. And it's kind of like, but you like, well, then don't do the grind. Like, I know you're doing a thing where you're trying to get all these alts, but like, if you don't want to do the grind, like, that's the thing.
Right.
Like, don't do the thing if that's not what you want to do. Like, kind of, and that's really the sort of the analysis you have to do is like, okay, if I want that gear, if I want that, that achievement, if I want that clout, whatever it is, am I willing to put in the effort for it? And the effort can be, learning the dungeon or not, or going out and, paying the gold to get carried through, whatever am I willing to put in some sort of time or effort or money to get the outcome or not? Because the problem is too many people do stuff like the anima grind. I think a lot of people are complaining about anima because they feel like, and we're used to this, Blizzard has set us up to be used to getting everything immediately. Like, oh, okay, like, here's I should have my sanctum completely kited out by the end of the first patch. And, that's just the way it's going to go. And I don't think they intended for that. That's why the prices are so high, and that's why the anima is so scarce. And people don't know how to react to that because they're like, wait, where's the anima? Why can't I get this done? And you need to step back and just be like, okay, like, at the end of the day, this is a game. You're supposed to enjoy this. Play this the way you want to play this. Engage it on your terms, not on Blizzard's terms. I think the one thing that I did like that Latte said is, like, she's doing the content at her rate. Like, like, she waits to get into the content until, or she waits to get into the content until her characters are ready for it, not on Blizzard's schedule.
Right.
And if heck, I didn't do like anything in Nyalotha. I think I did like, I got my cloak up to like the 4th rank or something, if that. And like I did like 1 or 2 of the nightmares because I spent the entirety of patch 8.3 in Mechagon. Just grinding out the stuff in Mechagon because that's what I wanted to do. That's what I liked, and I was fine with that. And you can be like, "Well, your cloak sucks." Yes, my cloak sucked. I know my cloak sucked, but I didn't care because I'm rolling around in the Model W. So eat it.
Right. No, that's a great point, and I think Projali even mentioned to Kraken Latte last episode that her approach to the game is probably a little more healthy than ours is, even because I focus on raiding and that's it. Like, I don't focus on the other stuff. And same with Projali. Not to put words in his mouth, because he's...
How dare you?
I know. But, I mean, just knowing, like, understanding his mindset and my mindset, like, I approach it the same way. Like, kill the guy, and then we do the things later. Whereas hers is, I'm just going to do what I want and enjoy the process. And I think that's a great way to approach it. But, yeah, no, that's well said, because... a lot of the stuff is people comparing themselves to others, and you get those quote unquote alpha bros in there, and they have to push the fastest, hardest, and be the bestest. And not everyone is that. Most people aren't that. There's like maybe 5% of those people who are that way and can be, working at a high percentage all the time, whereas me, like, I need like 3 or 4 attempts to warm up, and then I got about 6 in me, and then I'm done. So I'm just falling apart. And I know this about myself, so I fit on a team that does that. So we raid for 3 hours only every week, and that's it. So yeah, that was well said. Now, Projali, I don't want to put you on the spot here, but you are one of these AOTC sellers. Run us through that.
Yep.
Like how do you? Obviously, you're for it, but what does that look like?
Yeah, so we do go through an advertising service. Some of our members are a part of it, so we're kind of attached like tentacles. But and I do get the complaints for the trade chat spam. I totally sympathize. The need ends up being a lot of cutting edge guilds at this point, and probably even some heroic only teams. Like, consumables are such a big part of raiding, and if you have a multi-night schedule, to guarantee that your raid's going to have a lot of success, we provide our raiders potions, we provide food, we provide enchants, we provide anything you need for raiding. Basically, from a consumable point of view, they don't have to worry about. So all they have to do as raiders is learn the fights, know their character, show up for raid. Like, we try and take as much of the farming out of it as possible, but with that is a large gold cost. So I think at the beginning of Heroic Week and Mythic Weeks, we were spending like 400k a week supplying these mats. Just to the, if a raider needed a BOE, we were trying to buy that, but we didn't have enough gold for that. But if we can go in and some players want to get loot from Heroic and they want to get the AOTC title, like we said earlier, it makes it easier to get groups, whatever the case. I don't think the prestige thing's there anymore, honestly. I don't think they do it for the title necessarily, just the utility that comes with it and the gear. If we can make 3 mil from selling that in a night on one of our off nights, like, it's really hard to turn that down with how expensive it is to fund a raid guild. And this is all in terms of gold. We're not making any money from this. This is all gold. If mats were free, we wouldn't do it because it's extra time out of our schedule to do all of this. I mean, it's a perverse incentive, but we do it to raid, and that's what we enjoy doing. So
there you go.
I know it pisses people off. But we're not selling Hall of Fame spots. We're not selling like limited titles. It's like it's all stuff within the patch, and it's I don't know. I think it's pretty reasonable compared to what some other guilds are doing. So
doesn't it help you then when like the botters come in and they flood the market with various resources, because that makes your costs go down, so you get more?
Yeah. So that hurts our personal profits. I know as a scribe at the beginning of this expansion, I dumped way too much into personal herbs. I probably dumped 1 million of my own gold into herbs. And then the Dark Moon decks weren't selling fast enough. My scribe stuff wasn't selling fast enough to profit, really. So week 3 rolls around, and Death Blossom and all the other herbs that the bots have figured out their paths for already. They were very speedy. This expansion, I was impressed. All of a sudden, it's like 600% less than what I paid for it week 1. I'm just like, okay, cool. All right, so we'll mark that as a loss because there's no way.
Yeah.
So. The bots long term, unfortunately, they do help the raid consumables out, because unless you've got a small enough economy where somebody's buying out the supply all the time and just reposting it, I mean, that is another thing. Like, people will do that. The goblins on the auction house will buy up the entire supply and mark it up. If you're on a smaller server, that's going to happen more commonly. So that's something that the higher pop servers are a little protected from, but it still happens. So I don't know.
So you're pro botting, pro AOTC selling. Is that what I'm hearing?
I am pro gold sales, whether it's Mythic Plus, Torghast, AOTC, Cutting Edge. We could sell Cutting Edge. I don't think we want to, because it's such a pain in the butt to slot in somebody for those last Mythic kills. But AOTC is pretty streamlined for us. But yeah, as long as it's for gold, I think it's fair game. I kind of agree with the opinions y'all were saying.
Yeah.
Was that?
I think what you're doing
the
is fine.
prestige of the raid title is more of a personal pride thing at this point. And if somebody's bragging about their achievements and linking them in trade chat like a dummy, you could always just go check their armory or their Warcraft logs and see, oh, you only killed each boss one time, huh? All in the same day, huh? 1 hour apart. That's okay.
That's interesting.
Good job, buddy.
Yeah.
Oh, you're a professional. So I don't know. There's enough data out there to where you can call people out on their BS if they try to puff their chest too much, but hopefully you don't have to do that.
Oh, jeez. Well, hell yeah. Well, I mean, I think that, like, kind of looking at the whole picture here, like the botting multi-boxing thing kind of plays into that. But, I mean, you're right. Like, doing that is expensive, and having multiple raid nights takes away from your time to farm and make the mats.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I think that's a fair trade. You guys are putting the work in to pull that person through for an AOTC so you guys can keep progressing. Like, that if this was like a real world, quote unquote, that's something that would be happening. There would be mercenary work and stuff like that. So, to me, it just adds to the world, honestly. I could pay you guys to help me. Like, you be my mercenaries.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I look at it, but
we would just grab some member of the aristocracy who wanted to show off to his king dad, you know?
Yeah.
Just pull him in. You can get this big sword, man.
That's right.
You get Denathrius' sword.
Yep. Be perfect. Well, cool. Well, I think we got time for one more. So, now I know 9.1's coming. Sylvanas is in the next raid. And some of the scuttlebutt is potential redemption arc / should we kill her in the raid? Klanker, what do you think?
Uh-oh.
I didn't set that up very well, but we're going to roll with it.
All right. So I guess this one's tough in my mind because I love Sylvanas. I really enjoy what they've done with her character, especially over the last handful of expansions. They've been doing a really good job of taking characters we know and fleshing them out even further. And Sylvanas is one of those characters where, in my mind, there's a decent roster of female characters in World of Warcraft, but not very many of them are ever at the focal point. Now, Jaina, Talanji, and Sylvanas all were last expansion, which was great. Sylvanas has been a fan favorite since Warcraft 3. So it's tough for me to say it's fine if she dies, because if this is the end of her story, which I could see it being, that's fine. Like, this might be one of those, like, we put her out to pasture and we don't hear from her again, and she goes, like, out on a ship and just goes west of Westeros. Like, she just goes off and does her thing. And so it'd be tough for me to kill Sylvanas because, in a way, as I said, she's a beloved character. She's a character that they've really developed. She makes an excellent villain because we've been playing this whole cat and mouse with her for about 3 expansions, trying to figure out, what is she truly trying to achieve? What is she really thinking, and what is she doing? And so for me, I feel like the loss of a character that's that calculating would be felt, because we haven't had a lot of villains that are super calculating in that way. Like, we had Gul'dan, but a lot of times we get, like, the Deathwing, right? Where they're like, aha, I just come in and smash, look how evil I am. So I kind of want to keep her around, mostly because I would love to see her... I would love to see more of the, like... continuing to be evil, like, oh, I'm just going to fade into the darkness, mustache twirl, like, you thought you got me, but you didn't. But I also know that a lot of players are, at this point, they're sick of her, right? They're like, I don't want to see her again, she burned down a tree, I took that very personally. I also took that kind of personally. I started as a night elf in World of Warcraft, so it's like, my tree! Yeah. So I think her story is coming to a close as far as its current arc. I'm not sure that she's going to survive, but if she does, I think what they're going to do is they're going to take her off the board, so to speak. Like, they would put her in a position where she has been removed from the main story in Azeroth, but maybe she'll have a place of leadership in the Shadowlands, something to that effect, where she'll be around still, but she won't be front and center, and she probably won't come back for many expansions. Until they're ready to, like, bring her back around. Kind of like what they did with Illidan, where, Illidan's like, haha, evil mustache twirl in both World of Warcraft, Warcraft 3 and Burning Crusade, and then the Great Redemption arc, which people loved. That was a well-received redemption arc, I think, overall, just because he was another fan favorite. So, for Sylvanas, it's tough. I could definitely see them closing the chapter definitively on her, but I could also see them setting her aside just because she's such a strong part of the lore. I mean, she's one of the characters that people recognize even though they don't know what Warcraft is. She's like the Pikachu of Warcraft. People are like, I know that thing. It's that dead elf person.
She got the ears.
She got the ears. she got the midriff. Oh wait, no, she has armor now. Never mind.
Oh yeah. I always thought that was so weird when they did sexy Sylvanas loading screen.
It was weird. I love that she has armor. Yeah, I was like, yeah, don't even get me started on that. Like, yeah. Yep. No, I'm like, she should have armor. Just because she's dead doesn't mean she doesn't have stuff.
But she's got to be a hot zombie, right?
Vital organs exist, right? You don't want arrows and swords in your stomach.
Right? Well, I mean, like, you have extra holes and stuff. Yeah, I don't know. It suck if you're undead. You're like, okay, do you know how hard it is to find a different med section? Like, come on.
Right?
Well, that's her showing off. She's showing off how hard it is to hit her. It's like, look, it's right there. There's my midriff. Can't touch it. Can't touch it.
Spinal column. Good luck.
I don't know if you guys have ever seen the comic about like how male armor versus female armor works in video games. That comes to mind. The male character is like full plate and just like a little slot for his eyes. He has an arrow sticking out of the eye slot. He's like, my eyes! And the female character is just like wearing a chain kini and she just has like arrows that are all on her boobs. And she's like, oh, look, I'm great! That's what I think of. So anyway,
there's a Viva La Dirt League video on YouTube that talks about it's epic NPC, man. You should check it out if you haven't seen it. But they do that. Like, they come up and they're like, here, adventurer, here's the cuirass of awesome, and he gives like this, plate piece to this guy. Then this lady comes up. He's like, hey, I got the cuirass of awesome and this great staff. You should take the staff. And she's like, but what about the armor? I want the armor. And he's like, all right, here it is, and it's a tinkini.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
She's just like, God damn it. Like, you see it on her face. It's like, man, it's so true though.
It is.
It's funny.
Although thankfully after Burning Crusade we moved away from that a little bit.
Yeah.
The plate kinis were fierce.
Oh yeah. They were fire. So that's what the kids say, right?
It's lit, fam.
But sorry to get back on track here, but no, that's a great point that you make. Like, is Sylvanas has been around forever. Like, I remember when I saw her get turned into the Banshee Queen from Arthas, I was just like, no. And I've always had a soft spot for her. And like you're saying, you know, the cat and mouse is great. And I know people are all, oh, I'm tired of Sylvanas, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, Sylvanas is awesome because you don't know what she's doing. Even the people who know what she's doing, air quotes, have no idea what she's doing. And if she is doing something, so, like, if she's making that tough decision to burn down the World Tree, to kill Sourfang, to set up this stuff to get us into the Shadowlands, to stop the jailer who's a big asshole, or maybe there's someone else at play too, who knows, maybe Nazal's still around. But, you know, that sometimes leaders have to make tough decisions. And sure, you probably don't want to sacrifice your own people and all that stuff, but, you know, sometimes, you know, like in war, like generals have to make those calls and they send units into spots where they're going to get lit up. And that's just the reality of it. And if it's one of those scenarios, like, I'm totally on board with it. I just hope if they do a redemption arc, it's not like a cheeseball way. You know what I'm saying? Where she's like, oh, I got the magic thing and we're good. It's like a legit...
I don't think so. I think if there is going to be any kind of redemption, it will only be like a partial redemption where she's like, well, I've done something, like, especially, and I'm sorry, I get really excited talking about it after they released the Anduin cinematic, but you can see the regret there because she basically did the same thing to Anduin that Arthas did to her, right? So she saw that she has come full circle, but you see that she still has the regret there. So I love that they've done that, and that I think makes her a really special villain to me, is that we actually get to see her emotions behind the things that she's doing, especially now. So that's one of the reasons I don't really want to see her go, is because we're probably just going to get another Deathwing next expansion.
Right.
Like, everything's going to die. And you're like, well, that's cool, but can you just have a little more finesse? He's like, I don't know what that means. So.
I only burn things really hard.
Really hard and sit on people.
That's right.
We have Deathwing, and that's the jailer. I mean, he's the guy out there like, death is coming for the soul of your world and everything. I mean, we don't know really anything about his motivations or what even... all we know, he's coming for the soul of the world. What does that even mean? Mm-hmm. Like, you know, it's... You know, he's sort of the Deathwing kind of dense character here. And I think that's intentional because we're... Like, Sylvanas is the fulcrum as far as you got Anduin and you got the jailer, and then Sylvanas is kind of in the middle trying to balance... You know, where we're trying to figure out how she's balancing the two of them.
Right.
And I don't know, when I think about Sylvanas, I'm trying to remember, when Ian first talked about the World of Warcraft being morally gray, like, wasn't it with respect to, like, Sylvanas interactions or, like, the burning of the Teldrassil and those things that there's more behind the picture, and we're getting more of that. Mm-hmm. And I feel like to just... We've seen the bad that she can do. We've seen her go completely the wrong way. And so in order to get to that gray point again, she's got to do some good at some point. And so I think she has to maybe not get a full redemption, but she has to do something to kind of balance the scales. And then when she hits whatever her finale is, be it death, or my personal guess is that they're going to shove her in Revendreth and be like, okay, you go sit there and get cleansed or whatever for the next 1,000 years and whatnot. So that this way, Revendreth is perfect for them, because it's like, that's where all the villains can go when they're done with them, and then when they're ready to pull them back, we just pull them back from Revendreth. They're not actually gone.
Her and Gary are going to have a great time in Revendreth. He's like, you! Can't wait for that. Also, where is Gary? I still haven't seen him. I have some words, and they're very strong.
He's in a cinematic.
Don't look on the. Don't go to Wildhead.
Ah, yes, okay. I went there earlier today and I missed it, so good.
The Torghast dungeon spoiler or the raid spoilers are out in full effect.
Oh no!
Well, I don't know if he's actually in there, but I was just talking about the other bosses.
Don't go to Wildhead. That's
Time to avoid the internet for the next 6 months.
Pretty much.
Yes.
Good luck.
Yep. Projali, how do you feel about your fearless leader potentially coming back?
My fearless leader, I'm Thrall all the way. You can't Thrall and Vol'jin. You can't pin Sylvanas on me.
Sorry,
I'm a troll. I'm a troll.
Go ahead and say your
The,
point. I have a thing to add to this when you're done.
I just side note. Whenever I think of Deathwing and his like, "Bro, I'm breathing fire," I remember leveling in the Barrens when he did Cataclysm, and just singing the Trogdor song whenever he'd fly through and burn everybody.
That's amazing.
Burninating the countryside. No, but Sylvanas' arc, redemption is just the plot trope that you would assign to it, but it can't be with genocide and with destroying a capital city and war and turning everybody against each other. Even if it is for the greater good, there's no way to spin that to the populace and see, she wasn't so bad after all, guys.
She's good.
So I think she is doomed to some sort of purgatory for forever, whether that's Revendreth or we kill her and she gets some special spirit status. I don't know.
I would love to see her in
She just can't go back
Ardenweald.
to normal hanging out in Lordaeron. There's no way.
Yeah, I want to see her in the Ardenweald with the little fairies floating around and just see how she responds to that.
She gets put into a seed and then the Drust come by and steal her.
Oh, no.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I feel like the Drust would feel sorry. I'm like, oh no, take her by all means. I'm like, yeah, no, they're gonna be sorry they made that choice. She's gonna mess them up.
Yeah, that's the wrong one.
Yeah, she's our secret weapon.
Yeah.
Yeah, and another thing too, because remember BFA, you Horde folks got to make a choice. Do you follow the Dark Lady or do you follow the green guy? Yeah, and I wonder if that, because that choice didn't really pay off in any way, right?
It was just didn't really do anything game impactful.
But what if it does now?
You got to meet up with her at Windrunner Spire, and she basically said oh yeah, go kill N'Zoth because that's good for me.
You'll find a dagger, maybe. I don't know. It might be there.
Yeah. I was hoping, when I saw that, I was like, man, that could be really cool if they make it pay off down the road. So maybe when you guys are raiding against her, half your team becomes killable all of a sudden. She's like, aha, my army's back. And then, the Horde players can never kill her because you're all
awesome.
targetable. That would be cool.
Ooh.
All right, y'all, we're going to need you to go back to BFA, do this quest line in a different way. We'll come back Tuesday.
Yeah, re-roll your exact class. It's fine. Just go back and do that quest again.
Well, I mean, it's actually interesting because if you think about the stuff they added in Legion where, alchemists could do specific things in different fights, they could do something cool like that where it's oh, yes, at some point during the fight, if you allied with her, you can do slightly more damage or, something cool like that where it's yes, intel that the other person doesn't because you were, working for Sylvanas. I don't know. Here I am being all excited. I'm I would love it if they did that. I don't think they did, but we'll see.
I don't think they did either. But that'd be really cool if they did. I'd be all for that.
Some flavor.
Yeah,
I do love it when they include stuff where our actions matter, which doesn't happen very often because we're just hero, and hero can do no wrong.
Right.
Champion.
Magni, I have a name, buddy. It's above my head.
Kamehameha.
He just squints. He's like, champion. I'm like, no, that's not.
It's the
if
diamond.
All 20 of us are champions. Are any of us really champions?
We get the amalgamation trophy.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, I think we covered some pretty fun topics there. Yeah. I mean, I think that we're going to be stuck with botting and multi-boxing for the foreseeable future. So if you hate those things, I guess buckle up. The esports thing, I don't know if this is... I think Blizz is just trying to do something fun, maybe. Ish. I don't know. Hopefully it's cool. They got to get Salt and Pepper involved, though. That's the only requirement I have. Yeah. If that's not playing in their cutscenes or something, then somebody screwed up. Gold sales for polls, I don't care. do it. Have fun with it.
Controversy.
I know. So controversial. But yeah, and Sylvanas, I think that's pretty fun. Like, now there's a billion more we could have talked about, but we could be here all night, and I don't want to do it to you guys. So let's move into
in the future.
Oh yeah. Well. Let's go right into. So let's jump into the scrub moments here. So, since you're new to the show, this is the part of the show where we share our most scrubbalicious moments and laugh heartily at our mistakes we made in the past. And hopefully they weren't too far or too bad. But well, actually, the worse the better. I'm just kidding.
Scrub it up.
My favorite one of all time still is Jin from Morley Gray, where he accidentally used somebody else's lockout. So if you did something that you're feeling bad about, just know that there's someone that's done something completely way worse than you could ever do. So
it could be therapeutic, really.
It could be. So I don't know who's got one ready.
I've got one ready, actually.
All right, Magnificent K, leading off here.
All right, this is actually one that happened like 3 days ago. I have a wealth to pull from as a healer, but this is actually about being a hunter. So I did play a hunter back in at tail end of BC and Wrath of the Lich King going forward. I got into the Burning Crusade beta, which was great. So I was like, oh yeah, you know what? I'm going to play this. I'm going to boot up a hunter. It's going to be great. Ran all the way out to Darkshore as a troll, which was long, and I forgot there were flight paths, so I was just like, doot, 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 like just, whole half hour or so. Go out there, I tame a Tell Strider, which are for those people that forget they're the, like, plain strider birds. The ones that look like naked chickens, those giant ones.
Yep.
There's a one that's a unique color. It's turquoise. It's really pretty. So I went all the way out there to tame this guy, and I was like, this is great, like, I named him Jerky, because that's what I've always named my plain strider. And so I'm running around, I have Jerky, I'm super excited, and I, look at his little health icon, and he's like, oh, Jerky's very upset with you, he's rebellious. And I was like, oh, well, Jerky, I we should better get you some food, and start running back to Orgrimmar. And like the scrub I am, I went to go get on a flight path, and he despawned, and he was mad at me, so he never came back.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
So that was another scrub moment where I had to spend yet another half hour. This time I was like, yes, with flight paths this time. And I brought bananas out, so then Jerky was not as mad at me. But
there you go.
Jerky 2.
Jerky 2.0, you will not fail me. So yes, that was my scrub moment, is I forgot that pets do in fact hate you for anything that is before Cataclysm.
That'll happen. That
pretty happens. Good. Especially when you accidentally, like, dismiss them, but you don't dismiss them, and you let them go, and they turn around and they start attacking you, and you're like, but why? And they're like, you jerk. That's what you get for naming me Jerky!
We had a bond.
I know, we had a bond! It's like pecking my eyes out, and it's like, I only eat fruit. I'm like, why are you eating me? It's like, because I hate you. That was my scrub moment.
That's beautiful.
2 hours of my life wasted for a stupid bird that I love very much.
That's perfect. That's a great one. That is a great lead out. That was a double into the gap right there for our baseball fans. Yeah. That's a good thing, by the way. Nick, what do you got going?
I got to follow that up. I don't know what I got. Back in Hellfire Citadel, I was raiding with a guild. I was raiding with Katie. We were in the same guild at the time, and on the Archimon fight, he had this one attack that would knock you up into the air, and if you fell, you immediately died.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I came to the guild a little bit late, so they had all done the fight a few times before. I wasn't a carry; I was just a late joiner of the guild. Although technically, I guess they were carrying me, but they're like, whatever you do, like, don't stand there when he does that, because he's going to knock you up into the air. It's going to kill you. I'm like, yeah, I'm a hunter. I can survive fall damage. Don't worry. And they're like, no, it's going to kill you. So, of course, I'm standing there. He knocks me into the air. And then just before the end, I hit disengage like you do as a hunter, because that mitigates fall damage. Mm-hmm. And I disengage back like 30 feet, and then I die. Because it was magic damage, not fall damage. And it didn't matter that I disengaged. It still killed me. And everybody was like, we told you not to do that. And I'm like, yeah, but disengage. It should have worked.
But it did the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I learned the hard way not to do the thing.
I thought you were going to say you disengaged off the platform, because I'm like, that would have been poetic justice right there.
No, because I was good. I wasn't that bad. I was just bad enough.
Fair.
That would have been awesome. But that's a good one. I like it. I like that one. Projali, I know you got one. You got one somewhere. It's hiding.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back in the archives for this one.
Do you want me to go first so you can call upon your steward to get pull of the file?
Yeah, there's a couple, but gotta frame them.
Okay.
So,
well,
feel free to go, Sai.
I'll go. I'll hit into the double play here.
Okay.
Sorry, I love baseball and baseball season's back. But anyways, I was playing Classic WoW. This happened to me last night, actually. I was playing on my Warlock, and I got my Blueberry. Very exciting. So I was cruising around. I was going into Moonbrook. Had my Blueberry out. Blueberry dies. And I'm like, oh, no problem. I'll just summon another Blueberry. Well, that did not happen. Because I forgot to load up on Soul Shards on the way to Moonbrook.
Oh, no!
Whoops! Yeah, so if you're thinking about rolling a Classic Warlock, do that all the time. All your bag space should be filled with Soul Shards. So
that's like forgetting ammo when you're a hunter. I've totally done that. And you're like, oh, yeah, I'm just going to go, oh. Well, it's a good thing I have this pointy stick.
Yeah, I'm going to Raptor Strike it to death. That's fine.
I've had to do that.
Yeah, so I think it's the Defias Pillager was actually one of the most deadly, like, in-world creatures for the longest time, because their damn Pyroblast just annihilates you. And when you go into Moonbrook, and if you pull two of those things, you're just dead, because it takes like a quarter of my life every time I get hit by one of those things. So I could have really used my extra Blueberry, but yeah, that didn't happen. I was a victim yet again for the 4 millionth time.
Classic strikes again.
It does. I've been playing this game since vanilla, so I know what I'm doing, right? But I still make the current WoW mistakes. Like, I go in like trying to be like Rambo and just die. I'm gonna pull everything here. It's fine.
Yeah, I did that again. Noob mistake with my beloved Jerky. I was like, oh yeah, I got this. Ran out there. I'm like, oh, Jerky's level 20. And just watch Jerky die and then watch a very angry mob come charging my way. I'm like, well, I've made mistakes.
Yeah, now you're like Johnny Depp in that Pirates of the Caribbean movie. Running.
That was precisely what I looked like. Running past a bunch of people on the beta, going, who is this scrub and why are they flailing about past me?
You should probably run too, because you're going to die.
Yep. Flailing indiscriminately at Alliance players. I'm like, run! And they're like, what are you doing?
That's awesome. All right, Projali, what do you got?
Okay, so some old friends from the Kata days and I were reminiscing the other night about our favorite raids and how Tier 11 and Tier 12 were great, and we'll forget Dragon Soul ever existed, the last two bosses especially. But one of our, those nostalgic moments you have was we were reminiscing about our progression on Heroic Ragnaros back in the day. And so Heroic Rag added a Phase 4 where you got to see his skinny little legs. He hopped up out of the ground. Mm-hmm. It was a race to beat the Dread Flame. It was a really fun fight. But for anybody who worked on that fight back in the day, you'll remember it was like a 15 to 18-minute fight. And we were getting very tired a few weeks into progression on this, where we would occasionally get to Phase 4 and then wipe immediately when we got into the Breath of Frost stack. So we're coming up on like the last pull of the night. The previous two ones were really good, right? Everybody's feeling super hyped on this one, and I hadn't made any mistakes yet. And so we get in there, and everybody's moving to the Breath of Frost. And there's an arrangement you can do. So the original intention of the mechanic was you moved in 1/3 of your raid at a time, and they'd clear their stacks, and the next group would go in and they'd clear their stacks, and you just repeat that. And that was how it was supposed to be intended. They didn't do the measurements right, so you could technically do a triangle formation around it. As long as you were more than 8 yards away from each other, but still in the circle, you'd be fine. All my guildies got into position great, and I was late to it, so I was like, oh shit. So instead of running and just inching myself into it with my arrow keys, I Goblin rocket jumped right in the middle. And the Tauren of flame that shot up and killed everybody was only drowned out by the silence and mumble. So it's a fun way to call it after a stressful night of some really good pulls.
Dude. I wish you had video of that, because that just sounds magnificent.
Oh, 20-year-old Projali was raging at other people for messing up that mechanic earlier, and I was like, you just... It takes a couple extra seconds, but just inch into that thing, and we'll all be in it. We don't have to worry about rotating. Like, just do it. Then I'm over here just like, Leroy, rocket jump, blow everybody up.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, so we forgot that happened on the next raid night.
I don't think you forget a moment like that.
Oh, I repressed that one. Somebody had to remind me that I did it. I was like, there's no way. And they're like, no, you did. And I was like, oh, yeah, I did.
You just need to own that. Be like, you guys are the one who was out of place, not me. I rocket jumped right to where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah. You should have moved out and seen me coming. I don't know what to tell you, man. You should have adjusted for me. Yeah. 15-minute long pulls get people a little spicy when somebody makes a mistake.
Oh, man.
I'll just do that.
Might need to take a night off after that one.
Yeah, I was like, oh, my bad, guys.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
I think we call it there, guys. I don't know. I think we're all a little tired.
As a Goblin player, I can appreciate that more than you know. Just saying. I've biffed my fair share of rocket jumps. I'm like, yeah, I'm a healer. I can do this. And then I biff right off the edge and like, I can't do this.
Oh, no.
Can you honk? Not so much.
In about 20
Probably
minutes.
not.
Yeah. That's fantastic. Oh, man. Oh, that reminds me of some fun ship battles we had in ICC. I'll save those for future shows, but...
Ooh.
Yeah. Let's just say me and the jetpack didn't get along very well. You have to click it and then set your reticle, not actually jump off the ship. But I'll leave it there.
Yes!
I love it.
They didn't tell me that. They're like, you know what you're doing? I'm like, oh, yeah.
Sure, it's jetpack. How hard can it be?
Tally ho. Oh.
Oh, no.
I sorry, guys. I got too close to the edge. I don't know what happened. Yeah. Jumped.
Is it raining? It's a little slippery out here. I don't know.
Gust of wind.
Ice everywhere. Yeah, it's bad. Well, cool. So where can we find you guys on the internet?
I'm looking at you, Nick. You usually do that.
At you. Well, I can't. I just see a K looking at me, so I don't know what that means.
The indomitable K.
We're still staring at each other, aren't we? All right, fine. I'll go. So I am at WookieBH on Twitter. You can also hear me over on the Mash Those Buttons Network on WoW Talk, where we talk about Warcraft news and guild management. Over on the Tauren and the Goblin with Katie, where we talk about Warcraft story and lore. And then also on the Mash Those Buttons show, where Jarrett and I talk about gaming news and what's going on with that. So that's where you can check me out there.
And you can check me out on the Tauren and the Goblin, as Nick said. Also, I'm on Twitter at HyruleMaster77, so if you wish to fight me, you can find me there, or you can tell me how dumb I am and how abusive I was to poor Jerky. I'm sure he would appreciate my abuse.
Some call it love.
Not Jerky.
To be fair, you named him Jerky. It was kind of doomed from the start.
It was a doomed love, Nick. It was a doomed love.
Yeah, he's just living his best life.
Oh, man. Well, thanks so much for coming on. That was a lot of fun.
No, thank you very much for having us. This was indeed fun.
This was awesome. Thank you, guys.
Definitely.
And thanks for listening to the show, everyone. You can find us over on Twitter at ScrubsVerse. You can find my personal Twitter at Cyrub_KOC. You can find Projali at TheProjali. You can find old episodes and leave your very own Scrub moment at www.scrubsversetheworld.com. Also, if you're playing some WoW Classic, I am currently playing on the Pagel server Alliance side with the Lion's Pride Tavern Guild. swing on by if you'd like to join that adventure. We're getting ready for the Burning Crusade launch and having a great time leveling up there. And if you could do us a solid and leave those 5-star reviews on your favorite podcasting app, we would really appreciate it. That helps get us in front of more people, and getting in front of more people is a good thing. So wherever you are out there, we hope you're having a great day, staying safe, and as always, keep getting good.